We were overdue for a little internet wackiness, and you were looking a little malnourished, so allow me to feed you some vitamin D drama. If I asked you to tell me the most iconic YouTube video you can think of, I imagine a lot of you would default to some of the timeless classics like Numa Numa, maybe Harlem Shake. But I do think there's a not small number of people that will immediately go to something a little more recent. The now infamous Colleen Ballinger ukulele apology video. Now I know what you're thinking. Charles, Dagnabbit, that was 2 months ago. That's ancient history. That milk has spoiled. Why are we talking about it now? Well, it's because JoJo Siwa just came out to defend her against everything that's happened and calls it a lie.
Speaking of friends, are you and if I'm wrong, are you friends with Colleen Ballinger still?
Yeah,
What do you say about that?
I've known Colleen for since I was 12.
Now, I recognize on the internet things move faster than me on a basketball court. It's always going a million miles per hour, so there's a good chance a lot of you forgot why Colleen Ballinger even got in trouble in the first place. So I'll give you a brief refresher. Colleen Ballinger is the woman behind the Miranda Sings brand, and recently, 2 months ago, it came to light that she had a history of talking and acting inappropriately with underage fans, even sending some extremely disturbing and inappropriate videos to children in her audience, and a lot of other very awful allegations and accusations against her and the way she acts around children. So for JoJo Siwa to come on here and immediately start by saying that she's known Colleen since she was 12, that to me is just another big red flag. Like, this is the worst possible way of starting your defense of someone if you're trying to prove they're innocent and everything was a lie. She just openly admits that when she was 12 years old, she was friends with an adult woman. When JoJo Siwa was 12, Colleen would have still been an adult. That is very weird. The creep sirens should be blaring. An adult influencer befriending children in their audience is not normal, healthy, or a good thing. Especially because Colleen, as she herself admits, had no boundaries, so would share everything with these children that she considered friends, such as sexual shit. It was very, very not good. And here's JoJo just confirming that, hey, I was one of those 12-year-olds that was friends with this adult woman.
I would imagine if you're friends with her, you kind of met her when you were young.
I was 12 when I met her.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me. The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
What lie? Can you point it out and set the record straight? What fib has Hulkmania run wild with? Because in this statement, in this exact same sentence here, you just confirmed one of the big accusations about the adult woman, Colleen Ballinger, befriending children. And there's a bunch of videos and messages that have all come out with things she would send to these children, and it's not good. Are those the lies? Is that all fake? Just deep fakes and all of the messages and victims aren't real? They're paid actors pretending? I would love to know what it is here. Now, full disclosure, I'm not super familiar with JoJo Siwa. It's a name I've heard a lot. I know she's a huge child celebrity. So if I may pose a thought experiment here, do you think it's possible that Colleen Ballinger was extremely nice to you and her family extremely nice to you, JoJo, because you were already a celebrity? So she knew if she was creepy and weird and saying sexual things to you, that could be a big deal because you had an audience and a platform that could call to light these awful actions. So perhaps she gave you special treatment because if she did do all of the degenerate shit she was doing with the other children she befriended, there was a chance that you could cause a lot of problems for her by revealing it publicly. But I could be totally off my rocker here, lost my marbles. At the end of the day, it's just a theory, a game theory. Just something to marinate up here in the old noodle to think on. But regardless, an adult influencer befriending a child fan is weird. Full stop. That is still just a weird thing to do.
And I've had that happen to me. And I I know Colleen very, very, very well. And I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet is incredible. I think her creativity is incredible. Miranda Sings is a character, is a comedian.
Comedian is a word we're using very loosey-goosey here, but even still, there's not exactly anything side-splitting, gut-busting hilarious about an adult sending sexual videos and messages to kids in a group chat. That's not exactly a top 10 ha-ha laughs moment. That's just fucking gross. So you can't really just excuse it at all as like, she's playing a character, just being a comedian. It doesn't really work here. And once again, you should not know Colleen Ballinger very, very well. You were a child. You were 12 years old. You should not know intricate details about this adult influencer's life who is a stranger to you. You're not like related or anything. You shouldn't have been friends to begin with. That in and of itself, I believe, is a problem.
And I think that it's very hard to be a character where people are also looking at you as you're a real human behind that character. And I think being a comedian is very hard because you were able to do things years ago that were okay. And now that we've grown and we've matured, we've realized that they're not okay. You know what I mean?
Like, in and of itself, that statement's not entirely wrong. Of course, things were different, like, 15 years ago on the internet. Like, some of the videos then have not aged well and would be very differently in terms of their perception today. But I don't recall there ever being a time in the internet's history where it was looked at in a positive light with an adult sending sexual shit to children. That's never really been something that's been written off as just comedy. So, this is kind of a nothing statement here, and by no means does this defend her at all or prove her innocence. You said that the internet ran with a lie, but now, instead of trying to prove that it's a lie, you're just saying, things were different a while ago, and now that we've matured, things aren't okay like that anymore. It's like, well, what the fuck are you actually even trying to say with this? I don't think JoJo herself knows. She just doesn't want to accept that someone that she was close with was actually just not a good person, I think.
But you, as somebody who's been in the public eye for a long time,
Yes.
Do you think that it is appropriate to communicate openly with everybody that reaches out to you?
No, I don't think that communicating with fans is... You got to be careful to not
And that's what I'm saying,
to
like-
not blur a friend-fan line. It's very tough.
Howie seems to get it, and it doesn't seem like he wants to ruffle any feathers here, so he's being as light with this as possible, tiptoeing around it a bit, but he recognizes that perhaps we should be calling attention to the obvious elephant in the room, that adults in a position like Colleen Ballinger was probably shouldn't be openly communicating with child fans like this. And I also want to point out that Howie Mandel, anytime I think about him in the modern age, I immediately just think back to that TikTok video he posted like a year ago, where he had a picture of this dude whose entire asshole fell out of his anus, and Howie was in the corner with a selfie saying, "Hey guys, this just happened to my buddy Eric. Do any of you know if this is COVID related? Is this a symptom? Let me know in the comments." Dude just dropped a fresh 2022 Goatsy, a brand new prolapse out of nowhere, and it had me giggling. So anytime I see him, I immediately just, in my mind's eye, picture that picture with Howie's face next to it. I don't know if that's how his show is, like if he has that kind of content on his show. I imagine not, because I don't think JoJo Siwa would agree to be on like an explicit show like that, since she is a like child star and makes exclusively family-friendly content, I believe. So I don't think that's how his show goes, but I just want to point out, like, if it is, what a crazy collaboration for JoJo Siwa to go on that kind of show. That'd be like fucking Hellraiser collabing with Fortnite for a skin.
And I'm just saying this as a parent again. You said you started communicating with her when you were 12.
Yes.
You want to be a
But you
parent?
guys were in the same industry.
So we were
too.
in the
like,
same-
You guys were making videos and stuff together.
So
right?
we actually met.
I'm just going to summarize the story JoJo tells here. It's about how her and Colleen Ballinger met. Basically, when Dance Moms was airing, which JoJo was a star of, I suppose, they didn't get invited to a party. Colleen Ballinger caught wind of it, saw that they were upset that they weren't invited, tried to make it up to them, and they all got dinner.
Colleen was telling me that night about YouTube and how her whole family did it and how it was awesome and she vlogs her life. And that night is when I went home and I made my YouTube channel and decided that that was going to be my career, essentially. And
That's a wonderful, sweet, appropriate story.
yes.
I think Howie's right. This story isn't alarming. They got dinner. It wasn't just Colleen and JoJo, it was others as well. And Colleen was talking about YouTube as a platform and ended up inspiring JoJo Siwa to start her own YouTube channel. That's not concerning. What is concerning is staying in constant communication with this adult that allegedly had no boundaries with the children that she would frequently communicate with. That's not normal, and that's not okay.
How is it for you now being her friend and reading some of what we read? Do you think it's all a lie? Do you think it's like, have you talked to her?
There have been a lot of people on the internet who have gotten hit with this cancellation. And a lot of them I know, some of them I don't know.
Only like 3 minutes ago, you did point blank say, lie. You did drop the hard L on that one. You did say lie. But now you're kind of backpedaling it a little bit here, so it's not as aggressive. She's now going through the cancel culture spiel, and the way she talks about it makes it sound like it's some type of infection, like a virus. We've seen this type of cancellation a million times in the lab. It's a particularly insidious one. Unfortunate for Colleen Ballinger. It's just a very odd thing for JoJo to say, because it feels like she's almost blaming the people that came forward with all of this evidence about years and years of inappropriate behavior.
And I look at it and I see that this is a sensitive subject. Somebody who is affected by any sort of anything having to do with adults, and I mean, for real grooming it's a very sensitive thing.
You must have really young people reaching out to you now.
Howie threw her a life raft right there. He put the water wingies on her because she was drowning, trying to somehow spin some kind of explanation for why she thinks this is all a bunch of baloney. Like, she's calling dirty barnacles on this whole thing. She said that, the internet ran with a lie, and she's saying cancel culture and all of that, but she's not really expanding on that in any meaningful way. It just feels like she had this image of Colleen because they were close, apparently, and she's refusing to hear from victims that came forward with their own experiences with Colleen that are very different from the one she experienced, so she's writing it all off as being some kind of attack, some unjust, malicious attack from bad actors.
She's cool, and I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation, and they still are, and they still are continuing to, and it's not okay because a lot of it is based off of lies, and it
is a scary place when you put yourself. It was one thing, I came to television, which is
I wish she would explain what the lies are then, because if she has evidence that debunks all of this, it'd be extremely invaluable, and I'm sure Colleen would really appreciate it, because she's not doing anything to defend herself. That ukulele apology video offered nothing. She was too focused on delivering a Billboard top-end track, a fucking Grammy award-winning toxic gossip train jingle that would distract people, I guess. Like, they'd be too focused on the heater of a song that she delivers that they'll forget all about the accusations and behavior and all of that. Like, she didn't actually defend herself at any point so far. If she's innocent, if all of these things truly are lies like you say they are, she should want to. There is a lot of evidence. There are videos that she sent. And unless that's deepfaked, that's a very hard thing to prove is wrong or justified in any way. So the fact that JoJo's defending her so adamantly and claiming it's all lies and it's just the internet capitalizing off her cancellation is pretty fucking wild. To try and defend the indefensible it's a Herculean task, but she's going for it. Again, if all of it is made up, then eventually, hopefully the truth comes out, I suppose, because right now it really does seem like everything Colleen has been accused of has substantial evidence behind the claims, whereas there is nothing to the contrary that proves that no, all of this isn't real and we shouldn't trust it. So, I mean, I'm of course going to keep my finger on the pulse here and wait and see if any new developments in this whole situation continues going forward. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this because I found it to be a pretty surprising segment here. That's about it. See ya. There are more podcasts on YouTube than there are stars in the night sky. Everyone has been convinced that they're a unique, special little butterfly and that their insight is invaluable. And now that there's so much easy access to recording equipment, everyone gets this insidious little idea planted deep in their noodle that it's time to start a podcast. And my God, I tell you, it's a plague. It's a disease, a virus that's infecting the mind of the most insecure and insufferable people of all time. For some reason, once that AT 2020 touches their hand, they just scream their insecurity from the mountaintop with authority, proudly. And it blows my mind. But I've never seen insecurity projected quite like what I'm about to show you today. So I am still shocked that he hasn't scrubbed this podcast episode from the entire cyberspace, just wiped it from the internet. Like, if this was a clip of mine, I would have paid every penny I have to my name in order to ensure this never sees the light of day again, that this clip stays buried, like the fucking Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh! It is that embarrassing. Like, you couldn't lock me up in Guantanamo Bay and torture this clip out of me, and yet he still has it on his channel. So the podcast is like a bootleg Fresh and Fit, where they just get a bunch of women together and ask them stupid questions and then rate each other's beauty. And then he gets really offended, like visibly upset, and I really thought he was going to start bawling his eyes out, crying in the fetal position. And I've watched a couple of their episodes now because I was curious if this was like an isolated thing. But no, this is pretty common. This is like a staple in their show from what I can tell, where they just have this section where they ask the women that they bring on to rate their beauty, rate the podcast host's beauty.
Listen, ladies, we're rating just off physical appearance, just off beauty, okay? Same standards. Trust me, we're not going to get hurt, okay?
That's the biggest lie ever told since the time Kellogg's tried to convince the world that sugar doesn't make you fat. So, the segment is Rate Our Appearance, basically, which is some actual middle school, literal baby brain man-child behavior shit. That is insecurity at its finest, to have the women you bring on as guests rate your appearance. That's so stupid. I'm surprised they don't also play Spin the Bottle and Truth or Dare. And maybe they do, I've only watched a couple of their episodes, but he says that they're not going to get offended with the ratings. Well, do I have news for you?
All right, cool.
Stop being delusional.
What the fuck?
All right, so now what I want you to do is, ladies, real quick, don't fucking waste my time. Rate the guys. Do me a favor, Josh. Stand up real quick, man. Everybody look at him once, man. He's not going to stand up again, all right? So I want you to rate me, my co-host, and then our fucking producer. Go, from 1 to 10. Just off beauty. Go.
When he does these sections, it really seems like he's some kind of basketball coach who's really upset at the team. Like, he gets very aggressive with all of it. Like, don't waste my fucking time. Listen, we're going to do the drill right now. We're going to do it right. So stand the fuck up, Josh. Look at him. Now spin around, Josh. Okay, good. Drop your pants, Josh. Good. Now rate everything you just saw. Now, don't waste my time. Like, I don't know why he gets, like, so upset even before they hear ratings. Like, he immediately goes into these sections combative. And I watched the whole episode up until this point. Like, he's pretty blunt and like very much so most of the time. But when it gets to this one in particular, he's like angry. Like, even before anything happens, he's already angry.
Speaking to the fucking mic.
I would rate you.
First you're rating me, and then him, and then him. Go.
I'll rate you a 7.
All right, what is he?
I'll rate you an 8,
All right.
and I'll rate Josh an 8 also.
Okay, what about you? Go.
I would rate you a 8,
Okay.
9.
Okay. Come on, he just fucking stood up, bro. Like, come on.
I don't even know what he's getting upset with here. She only took like an extra 2 seconds to take another look at the guy. It's like he just lost a gold split in a speed run to this extra 2-second time loss. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why he's so on edge. It seems like he just really hates the guests that they bring on. Because when he's talking to his boys, he's like much more jovial and joking and smiley. But the second the conversation shifts to the rest of the class here, like the group of women over there, he turns into like a drill sergeant and starts getting extremely serious and loud. So I don't know why they even bring on women to this podcast when they don't even really want them there. And I also don't know why women keep agreeing to go on shows like these, because half the time it's them just like saying, you're not good looking and shit like that. Like right after this rating section of rating the podcast hosts go through and rate all the women. And they literally give them 2s, 3s, and 4s. And make sure that they know that the hosts don't find them attractive. So I don't really get why women keep signing up for this shit just to get insulted by podcast hosts, and they don't say anything or do anything. Like, the women will insult each other sometimes. Like, they don't ever push back against the hosts at all, so then they just walk away looking silly from all of it. Like, all of it is just a net loss for the women that go on these shows. I don't know why they keep doing it.
I would say 9.
All right. What about you over there? Go.
2.
Okay.
I would give him a 9.
Okay. What is she over there?
I would give him a 10 because
Okay.
he invited me.
All right. So again, you sound like a stupid ass bitch. I'm trying to
Thank
figure
you.
out why you rated me a 2 because we're not going off our interactions. We're going off beauty.
I don't
Right.
like lights.
I don't give a fuck. He's light skinned just like me. And you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the fuck up and get the fuck out.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
Spoken like a man whose feelings weren't hurt at all and wasn't offended by the 2 rating. So he tries to justify it with, you only rated me a 2 because we had a disagreement earlier, which I guess they did, but even still, this is an extreme overreaction to getting rated a 2. The insecurity is palpable. You can fucking taste the salt here.
So what the fuck?
Stupid ass bitch. Make sure she gets her bag and phone too. Make sure she doesn't take the wrong fucking phone, dummy. All right, cool. So now, again,
You can actually hear that lump in his throat start to form from all the emotion building up inside of him. Get out of here, stupid bitch. Hey, make sure she grabs the right phone and not someone else's phone because she's so dumb she probably won't know which one's her phone. Dumb idiot. She's real stupid. You're stupid. I'm a 2. No, you're a 2. Unsurprisingly, this turned their own community against them for the episode. A lot of the chat messages pop up on screen, so you're just seeing things popping up saying like, damn, just because she gave you a 2, what the fuck? Or something like this where it's like, thought you wanted your show to last. Like, come on, man. It's because it's ridiculous. It's very clear temper tantrum over getting a 2. If you were someone that was actually getting pussy, if you were really slamming ham and glazing donuts, you wouldn't care if one girl didn't find you attractive or rejected you. You wouldn't care. You would laugh it off like a normal person. So one girl gives you a 2 and it shatters your whole ego and you publicly melt down about it? That's such a bad and embarrassing look. And he tries to justify it, like I said, by saying, she only gave me that 2 because of our negative interaction from moments ago. Just pure huffing of copium.
we're just going off physical beauty, okay? Not what we've been talking about, not my fucking arguments, not on none of that, okay? I want you to rate me, him, and then him. Go.
Can you stand up for a second?
You didn't see me before the show?
Yeah, but I just forgot.
I mean,
Just stand. It's not that hard. Okay. You're an 8.
God damn it, bro. Go ahead, rate him.
Podcast is now turned into like a hostage situation here. All the women seem on edge, and I actually just can't believe they didn't leave after that. Like, again, I don't understand why women keep signing up for this shit. Like, no one seems to be having any fun there. The hosts especially don't seem to be having any fun. This guy's co-host seems miserable, but he does liven up it a little bit when he gets to rate the other women and gives them like 3s, 4s, and 5s and all that. But it's just so awkward and weird. The only explanation that I can come up with, the only rational way of explaining this, is that the reason women are signing up for this show or shows like it is because they're being paid for their time. So it's like an hourly wage just to go there and be insulted or bouncing stupid questions off of. That's the only thing that almost makes sense. Like, so they just come on here to play a game of grade my friend's appearance for 2.5 hours or whatever. I mean, really, someone summed up the situation really nicely in the comments. They said, podcast is called Unfiltered, yet kicks a girl out for her opinion. And that is just such a nice, concise way of breaking it down and the silliness of all of it. Again, I watched a couple episodes just to try and get like an understanding of the content. There's nothing there. Everyone seems miserable most of the time, or they bounce the dumbest questions around. They always just do a gradar appearance thing, which who wants to listen or watch that? Like, I as a viewer, let's say that I was a huge fan of this podcast. Why would I want to keep seeing what women say about my podcast hosts? Like, why would I care? There's nothing there. There's no entertainment there, especially when one of them's super insecure about all of it, who's going to freak out if he doesn't get a 9. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. So yeah. What happens when you get 3 of the most uninteresting, out of their prime frat dudes in a room? They make a podcast. And like all other alpha podcasts, they focus on shitting on women. But this time, the unique selling point of this alpha podcast is all 3 of them rolled a 0 in the charisma stat. Between the 3 of them, they can very rarely form a complete sentence. It's like a game of fucking Mad Libs because they can't help but keep interrupting each other. And the one time they brought on a female guest, I think she maybe got 3 words out before they kept like dogpiling on every single breath she took. It is an outstanding disaster of insecurity. It's also adorable how hard they all try to appear as like this peak sigma alpha masculine specimen. This is a podcast I'm sure none of you have heard of. I only found it because a YouTuber named Chad recently made a great video on it, and I knew I had to dive into it and watch more of their content. On TikTok, they're a bit of a laughingstock. They're just a fucking punching bag for most people to insult for good reason, obviously. So I wanted to watch more than just like their best moments montages where it's like, women cheat more than men, those bitches. Like, I wanted to watch like the actual full context and full episodes. They have 3 right now. But it was so hard to watch them because every time they try and speak, it's like a kid who gets called on in middle school to stand up and read in front of the class and they're nervous. They just drone on, getting lost in their own sauce, forgetting what they were even talking about. They just keep fumbling over words and they just keep placing new filler words in there and it makes no fucking sense. It's like, I have no mouth and I must scream some dumb shit, but they just can't do it. Let me show you.
Yeah, plus like too, when you're in that bracket of fucking really financial, I'm not, but one day I will be, when I'm in that bracket of like being fucking rich as fuck.
Right.
I feel like, especially like, I don't know, like a lot of dudes get played for their fucking money and
yeah, a lot.
And they look like fucking fools because after a while too, money can only get you so far with getting pussy and shit.
Well, it depends.
At the end, and it's true, and like they'll be like, "Oh, fuck them, I'm tired of them." The fucking housewife.
That bitch was plotting.
He was plotting from the jump.
It's funny because I was
that's
like,
her personal need.
Yeah, right.
Which I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like,
fuck that.
why are you gonna use my money that I fucking made to do something?
Yeah.
If you want money, you ask for it, and I'll gladly give it to you.
Yeah,
because I don't want you sneaking money out the
We're
damn.
financially fucking way better off than most.
Yeah,
But yeah, just don't like fucking. Yeah, I fucking agree.
but like
This was from the timeless classic Women Cheat More Than Men, their biggest episode and a real hit. I couldn't watch the whole thing because this is the whole thing. Stretch this kind of conversation across an hour and 15 minutes. It's impossible to sit through. It literally sounds like someone skipping through dialogue options in like a Fallout game. It sounds like you're just listening to William Shakespeare in Old English and none of it's making sense.
I want to know what your boyfriend brings to the table, or what you expect him to bring to the or even any man. Not like we don't even have to like focus on your guy. But just any what does a guy have to do?
Respectful.
Okay.
So looks don't play a role in the first part.
There you go. Just let her go.
Yeah, let it go.
Relax, buddy.
Let it go.
This was a really big moment for the podcast. They really went out of their comfort zone and brought a girl into the boys' club in order to get deeper insight into females. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to really speak that much because the crew didn't really like when she'd talk. So like right away they just ask, what do you want in a guy? And she says respectful. The fucking room goes silent and one dude's like, so looks don't matter then, huh? Like, he just gets so deeply offended off rip. All 3 of their minds were blown. She said respectful, and one guy just, his whole soul is crushed. Like, what about looks, huh? What about looks? Are you lying to me, you crazy fucking harpy, huh? You come onto my podcast, you old battle axe, and you're spreading fibs? No, respectful doesn't exist. Not even a real word, not a thing. Looks, that's all that matters. That's what I've read on the forums. Don't fucking lie to me again on my own show.
I say, if my wife lets herself go after I have kids with her, if I'm going to tell her once, if you don't get your shit together, I still want to be sexually attracted to my wife, my spouse. But if you
even
can't
girlfriends.
do that, girlfriend too, if you can't do that, I'm out.
All three of them are pretty dumb, but this guy right here is like the superstar imbecile. Every time he says something, it's the dumbest shit. He was the guy that immediately got offended when the girl mentioned the word respectful. It was like a fucking vampire getting hit with sunlight when he heard that. He just started like melting and like in pain. All he cares about is looks and pussy, from what I gather. That's his whole personality. And anything that challenges his belief that looks are the only thing that matter in the world, he takes great offense to. So this video they disabled comments on because they were getting clowned on ruthlessly. And, you know, very un-alpha-like to be a coward and disable your comments. They're keeping the video up, and apparently they had a response to it, which they took down because they also kept getting clowned on with that. Can't confirm because I can't find it. Yeah, his whole point is super goofy. So my wife has kids with me, and then she stops getting hotter, and I don't find her hot anymore, and that's her fault. I give her one chance. If she doesn't fix herself, I'm out. Aging is cringe. So when my wife hits 40, I'm leaving her ass, and I'm going back to dating 18 and 19-year-olds.
I mentally checked out of my last relationship for so long.
But I don't want to say
you broke up.
Yeah. But I didn't.
Point. Goes the fucking show. Another point.
No, but it
Another
doesn't
point.
say anything.
Hold
No,
on,
it's
hold
not
on.
like anything bad. But
No,
it's like
not
after
you.
everything
Hold on,
I've
I'm gonna
been
let you
through.
finish your point. I'm gonna let you finish your point. Guys at home watching, if you're fucking, once you'll know when your girl's mentally checked out, and when she's mentally checked out, she'll entertain any dude. I'm not saying you. There's always exceptions to the rule. I'm saying they'll entertain dudes. They'll fucking even cheat on. They don't give a fuck because once when their mind's gone, the vagina still could be there. But once when the mind's gone, the heart's gone, they are done. There's no coming back from that. So like, you know.
Oh my god. He's absolutely right! Oh! He just blew the case wide open. I fucking love that this dude immediately interrupts her for the millionth time just to make like an absolute nonsense point. The vagina might still be there, but the heart's gone. The soul went to hell, and now she's cheating on you there. Right? And the Avengers music, oh, it just sounds so good. It's like he's making the most profound speech of all time. Like, hey, shut the fuck up real quick, lady. I know I asked you this question, but now I'm talking. Cue the orchestra. Hey, cheating and pussy. What's up with that? I genuinely just can't wrap my head around this whole crew here. I don't even know what he's thinking is going on right now. He thinks he's being so deep and profound and like this is somehow supposed to be inspirational, but it's not. It's not even close to anything at all.
No, I got this right here. Women preserve their value, men create it. Let me explain.
Exactly.
Guys care about a girl's past. A girl cares about a guy's future. Just like if your boyfriend.
I care about your past.
Hold up.
I have no doubt the three of them are pretty close to illiterate, but what that guy's saying right there is verbatim what all of the other YouTubers who are alpha males try and parrot. They all vomit that exact same line into each other's mouths, and just like Ouroboros, just keep eating each other's asses for all eternity. That whole men create value, women preserve it, guys care about a girl's past, girls only care about a guy's future. They treat each other like anime protagonists. It's literally r/I'm 14 and this is deep. This is literally sad Facebook statuses from 2010. It's very clear that this guy in particular was very deep into the whole pickup artist community or whatever, because this shit is the exact verbatim shit that they all said in their seminars. I've watched a lot of those on YouTube nights on stream because they're really fun to laugh at. And to a certain extent, I do feel bad for this guy because he got fed this so much that now he's adopted it as a truth and the cycle just continues.
Hot topic.
Very hot.
Girls cheat more than guys.
Oh, fuck yeah. Girls cheat more than motherfucking dudes.
I was waiting to say that, bro. I was waiting to say that.
They're sneaky.
100%. It's my personal mentality because I'm better than everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not an NFL player. I haven't been to the moon. I'm still better than you.
That's how you gotta become. You gotta think you're the best before you are the best. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everybody.
That's my personal mentality.
Yeah, he's not an NFL player. He's not a doctor. Hasn't been to the moon. Hasn't had a meaningful relationship. Hasn't been able to read an entire chapter from a Harry Potter book. But you know what? He has a podcast, so he is better than you, pussy. I feel like if I was an employee at the Best Buy they bought the Blue Yetis at, I would be overcome with guilt if I ever found this podcast and recognized them. I'd be like, fuck, I could have stopped this from happening. I could have been the hero if I just didn't sell them the Blue Yetis. It could have all been stopped before it even started.
Honestly, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but what's your take on fitness chicks?
Valid.
Like,
as fuck.
They're
superior to all women.
Top of the line.
Agreed.
Fitness
Top of
chicks
the line.
are superior to any woman.
They posted this themselves as one of their highlights. Like, this is one of their finest moments they were proud of. Just fucking imagine that mentality, that this conversation is like a moment you're like, yep, pretty proud of that one. I mean, to be fair, in their defense, they didn't fumble through sentences because there were no sentences here. It was just like individual words back and forth. Man calls it together like it's a goddamn city council meeting. Boys, gather around. Titties. What do we think? Do we like that? Valid. Milky. Top of the cream of the crop. Yes. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if I actually did finish all 3 podcasts to completion, there would be a million more wild and wacky moments, but it's just so hard to sit through their podcasts, so I haven't done that yet. So these were just some of the highlights that I found. These are the ones that were posted on their own TikTok, and as well as just a couple of moments that I skimmed through their podcast. And yeah, I just wanted to share this because this is just another very silly alpha male podcast. That's about it. So yeah. I just found the toughest guy on TikTok, the CEO of the Salty Spittoon. He told an inspirational story that I happened to stumble across, and I'm not going to lie to you, sports fans, it's something I really needed to hear.
From that point on, my dad knew he couldn't take on. And I was 13. He picked up a stick, a wooden stick, and he went to hit me over the head. And I did this, and it broke. And then I took it out of his hand, threw it on the floor, kicked him in the leg, picked him up, and threw him on the coffee table. Coffee table broke in half.
Yeah, that definitely happened. And everybody clapped. This kid Rex Kwon his father through a coffee table like it was Mankind McFoley through a WWE table. Now, I read his comments, and there were naysayers in there thinking that he was just spouting off a load of baloney. Bunch of bullshit. Well, poo-poo on you for thinking that he would be lying about a situation like this. You don't know who you're speaking to. This isn't some ordinary mortal, some weak coward. This is a superhuman. And here he is graciously taking time out of his busy day sucking piss from his own balls in order to tell us the origin story of his powers. Kind of like when Mark from Invincible awakened his powers, so too did he. And he is going to use this as a way of not just flexing on us, but trying to lift us up.
That's the beauty, that we are actually superhuman. We just don't unlock these genes because we don't put our body and our mind through the pressure. There is something called microfractions. Little microfractions that you cause when hitting the bone thickens the bone.
See, it's that simple. Microfractions. Well, you didn't learn about that in algebra? I'll drop the sarcasm for a moment. Fucking Goober here is confusing microfractures for microfractions. Also, I'm convinced he's not actually speaking to anyone on this podcast. I think he just set up this like podcast look to make it seem like he's got more authority than he actually does on something. But that's just a little game theory. That's a little tinfoil hat conspiracy there. But anyway, I just love that he comes in here preaching, we're all superhumans. Have you ever heard of microfractures? Like that's the eureka moment, like that's the chemical X. It turns out this is the secret that, you know, Big Brother doesn't want you to know. We're actually all X-Men thanks to microfractions. I feel like it's almost insulting to your intelligence if I explain microfractures here, because I imagine most of you know what that is, but I'll go ahead and dive into it quickly, just in case he happens to have stumbled across this video in between beating 5,000 samurais' asses for the day or something, or whatever cool badass thing he was doing. What he's trying to talk about is microfractures, which you've probably heard of in relation to like Muay Thai. And it's like repeated impact to the bone causes slight little fractures to it, so when it when it repairs itself, it grows back a bit denser, a bit stronger. Now, obviously, it's not going to turn you into a goddamn superhuman. You could go outside and kick oak trees till the cows come home, kicking infinite oak trees, but you will never be able to have dense enough bones to be like bulletproof or anything like that. Like, it's not going to turn you into a superhuman, and I don't know why he's talking about it like it somehow does.
I used to sit there and hit my shins with a hammer all fucking day. Do you know why people wear boxing gloves? So they don't fuck up their hands by hitting somebody's head. Your head is the strongest bone in the body. And if you train it and bang it enough for a whole year, it becomes 4 times thicker.
He's just straight up wrong. The head is not the strongest bone in the human body. That title usually goes to the femur. But he does say something I do believe him on about banging his head. That I think he's probably telling the truth on. Like, yeah, maybe he was hitting his knees or his shins with a hammer, and he probably started hitting his head with the fucking hammer too from the sound of things here, because he is way off his rocker here. He is off his gourd.
We hurt, and I learned that at a young age. That's what I learned from the Shaolin monks. Go watch them when they spar, when they battle, or when they have a fight. Boom, they turn their head. Wherever you're hitting, they just turn their head. You punch their head, you're breaking your hand.
No, they don't. He doesn't say a single thing in here that's accurate at all, not even by accident. So I know exactly what happened here, though. He saw one video, the old viral video of that Shaolin monk who was taunting his opponent in a fight, where he put his head down and was just taking every blow right on the chin. Like, he was just eating every fucking blow like it was cereal. So that's the video he saw, and he thought that must have been true for all Shaolin monks, I think. That's the only explanation I can think of. Like, and I'm giving him a lot of charitability here with my interpretation of this statement, because I think also equally likely is he's just straight up lying, just actually talking out of his fucking butthole. But I think there's a chance he saw that video of the Shaolin monk in the boxing ring where he was getting hit in the head a lot because he was literally taunting the guy, and he's like, oh, that's how Shaolin monks fight. Must be those microfractions I've heard so much about. They must train with that. So now he's spouting it off here on the podcast. But I don't know why he thinks that. He could have just looked it up for like 2 seconds. Like, Shaolin monks don't just fight with their head for blocking. Like, they're not giraffes. Like, they don't just fight with their head. Like, what? It's outrageous that he would think that. Also, I can't help but have, like, an immense appreciation for the lesson he's trying to teach here to, like, the absolute idiots in his audience. That you should hit your head a lot over the course of a year to make your skull thicker. He's actually trying to preach the gospel that in order to be a superhuman, you need to be like banging your head against the wall like it's a horror movie, like the end of Hereditary or something. That is incredible as a lesson that he's trying to get out there. Because that's actually the takeaway. He is literally talking like, if you want to unlock the superhuman X-Men gene, you're going to have to start hitting your shins with a hammer and damaging your skull so that way it'll get thicker and stronger and more dense. You ever heard of Shaolin monks and microfractions? That's an incredible lesson for him to try and teach on TikTok. That's amazing.
I come in to kill you. When I punch somebody, I don't punch their head. I'm imagining my fist going through their head, through the back of their head. Their head gets stuck here on my elbow. That's how Bruce Lee used to punch. And who was like that? Mike Tyson. He comes in and when he punches, why'd you see everybody's head flying? Because he tried to put his fist through the guy's head. That's why every single punch you see people fly. Look today, all the knockouts that are in the UFC. Somebody kicks him, he does a slap kick. Chin, boom, boom, boom. Guy goes down this way. Mike Tyson, Bruce Lee, it's a different punch.
Hey, can't argue with that. When this man throws a punch, he's turning your skull into body armor for himself, locking it in like an elbow pad. That is, of course, assuming you haven't trained your skull with sledgehammers for the better part of a decade, because then even he would be powerless against a skull that thick. You'd be looking like Sheen out of that episode of Jimmy Neutron when he gets really smart and has that huge brain. But yeah, I just think it's really fun listening to this guy talk about how badass he is. It's so cool. I punched through their skull and then their head's locked on my elbow. I end up looking like I'm out of Mad Max. I adorn my body with decorations of viscera and body parts. It's so fucking good.
Belgian horses are the biggest and the strongest horses in the world. Each one could pull 12,000 pounds. If the two of them are put together, how much weight could they pull?
Together they're pulling 24,000 right there.
By math, if you do it right, they're pulling 24,000. When you put two alpha males, Belgian horses, together, they could pull 36,000 pounds.
Math can never calculate the potential of an alpha. Also, the AI art he uses for all of his videos is fucking mind-boggling. Yikes. Horrifying. But you're gonna find this hard to believe. He's wrong again. So, this is actually something a lot of other influencer alpha males mention about the Belgian horses as an example of how strong brotherhood can be. They're able to punch way above their weight class, beyond what you would expect given, the numbers here. And it all stems from something called entree leadership from someone named Dave Ramsey, who gave this Belgian horse example when it comes to synergy. So, Belgian horses can pull up to 8,000 pounds individually, not 12,000 like Goofball mentions. And Dave Ramsey saying when you put two together, they are able to actually pull under like optimal conditions, trained together, they can get up to like 30 or even 32,000 pounds that they can pull together through synergy. Well, our guy didn't quite understand that. He couldn't get the numbers correct, and he was trying to spout out an idea that's not his to begin with. I don't think he read Dave Ramsey's book. I'm starting to wonder if he's literate in the first place. Instead, I'm sure he saw some of the other influencer alpha males that have butchered that book excerpt, and he just tried to call upon that and got it wrong.
Because one pushes the other. If you guys work together as a team, like two Belgian horses, you'll be able to pull a lot more than you're pulling on your own.
Yeah, I like that.
It's amazing that when you see brothers really work as a team and understand that nothing can break you, which means if I separated you and I took you in a room, no matter how hard I would beat you, you don't give up your butt.
Yeah.
You don't break. Don't ever let a woman separate between you guys. Every single ex-girlfriend of my brother separated us, didn't want me around. When I was around, he was being more of himself. Brotherhood is the most important thing.
Every single one of your brother's ex-girlfriends didn't want you around? And you think that's a problem with them, not you? Like these women that knew nothing about you at all, like they didn't have it out for you, all of them for some reason just didn't want you around, and you don't think that's because you're a fucking weirdo? Or maybe I'm just talking crazy. That's clearly not the lesson to be learned from that experience there. Obviously not. It all ties back to Belgian horses, actually. Anyway, though, I really enjoyed going down a little bit of a rabbit hole on some tough guy TikTok content, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya. Hawk Tua Girl. I imagine a lot of you just rolled your eyes at that. It is a meme that, for a lot of people, is beyond stale. It's been run into the ground because over the last couple months, it's been everywhere. Hawk Tua Girl has her name has been said more than Bloody Mary's name. It's like Beetlejuice, but when you say Hawk Tua 3 times, you'll get a new flood of 10 different videos from her in your feed. It is just everywhere and has been for a couple months. And it's made a lot of people just pretty exhausted with it. They're tired of it. And I made a video talking about her when the meme first blew up, going over how interesting I find it that a meme can change someone's life pretty much overnight. Something as simple as talking about spitting a loogie on a wiener can lead to a whole career potentially, and I never really blamed her for trying. I also did find it really weird how quickly she was speedrunning the influencer route. Within 3 days, she had a whole PR team. She surrounded herself with a bunch of parasites that were suckling all the clout out of her like these fucking vile leeches. She was immediately talking about starting podcasts, starting her own, I think it was a TV series or something. So she was going to launch the Hawk Tua cinematic universe to compete with the MCU from the sound of it. She was going on podcasts. She was getting paid $30,000 to appear at clubs. It was insanity. And now the trailer dropped for that podcast, which comes out in a couple days, and people have been clowning on her for it. She is getting dunked on harder than I do when I play pickup basketball.
She's literally doing anything to stay relevant.
Does anyone actually give a fuck about her?
Why are we keeping this girl relevant?
Your 15 minutes are up.
Your joke was funny for 2 days. Stop.
Y'all really thought I was done? I'm just getting started, baby.
It just feels so corporate and soulless. It just feels really inauthentic and artificial. That was what a lot of people said early on to the Hawk Tua timeline, that she was some kind of plant, because she did have an entire government think tank assigned to her right away to try and keep her name out there and keep people saying Hawk Tua, spit on that thang as much as possible. So it felt really forced. And zoinks, Scoob, this trailer feels more forced than this smile. It's called Talk Tua. It's not an awful name, like it's kind of silly, but it also just continues to reinforce the meme itself, which makes people even more annoyed with it if they're already tired of it, you know what I mean? Like, this just really feels like how Vought would handle a meme in the boys' universe.
It smells warm. F you.
Yeah!
What's one move in bed that makes a girl go crazy?
I'm Haley Welch. A little while ago, my life took a complete left turn and it changed forever. And along the way, I've realized that everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Well, now it's my time to talk. Check out my podcast every week, Talk to Them, where I'm sitting down with the coolest guests and having actual conversations with them. And Pookie.
Who is Pookie? Who is Pookie?
He may stop by too. New episodes every week. Subscribe to that thing.
I love that selling point of having actual conversations with the guests. Look, I'm not a chef in the kitchen, but I can speculate on the menu. They're going to be serving up nothing burgers with those conversations. Just a hunch. I get the impression that this is all driven by a firm. So what I'm imagining is all the guests are going to have like pre-approved questions that are okayed by the department that's going to be like really sterile, really safe, and hyper vigilant of being like viral potential clips. So like her smelling a shoe or flipping that question about what's a move in bed that makes a girl go crazy. Like, that all feels really, really fake. Yet, one of the big selling points is it's actual conversations. We'll see, it drops in like 2 days. I could be totally wrong. But even still, it's not like every other podcast isn't having real conversations. Like, this isn't going to be the only real one. You know what I mean? It just ticks every single box that some kind of marketing firm would have you do for your sizzler reel and marketing material. Pookie might stop by. Hooey! It could be anyone. Who the fuck is Pookie? You'll have to stop in next week for this Talk to a season finale to find out. It could be goddamn Steve Jobs being brought back from the dead. Maybe he never actually died. Maybe Hawk Tua's spit acts as some kind of necromancy, and she's the damn saliva sorceress, and she revived him. Who knows? You know, it all just feels so forced. But I do still stand by my statement that I can't even really be mad at her for doing all of this. I really can't. Getting as lucky as she did with a meme blowing up and people like going and flocking to you, like that doesn't happen often. And that can be the dream job for most people on the planet, and she's trying to capitalize off it. I don't think this is the best way of doing it. I really think being more human as opposed to just being the meme itself and spreading that out. I gave this example before, but maybe many of you don't remember the tragedy of You're Breathtaking Guy. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you, but I've mentioned it before. Quite a few years back, Keanu Reeves was at an event and he was talking about how the game looked breathtaking, and someone in the crowd shouted, "You're breathtaking," at Keanu Reeves, to which he said it back to that gentleman. And that guy came forward, everyone cheered him on, he became an overnight sensation, and for, I think it was like almost a full year, he rode that puppy as much as he could. He was milking those titties dry. He tried to use You're Breathtaking as his branding. He called himself the Breathtaking Guy, if I remember correctly. And people got really tired of it really quickly. And that same thing seems to be happening to the Hawk Tuah girl to a lesser degree, though, because she does still have a lot of people that are really excited about this. So it is working to a certain extent, but I just really think the best path is to just separate from the meme a little bit. Like, hey, you know, this was my lightning rod. I know you guys know me as the Hawk Tuah girl, but, you know, I'm just kind of hanging out here. I started a podcast if you want to check it out, and just have it be more organic. Hey, I'm playing the One Piece card game tonight on stream if you guys want to stop in and tune in, as opposed to just like wrapping everything around the meme, because it just feels so inorganic. It really does feel like an industry plant situation to a certain extent. But yeah, anyway, just want to talk about it a little bit because I do find it very interesting. That's it. So yeah. There's a crazy phenomenon with the internet, with this wacky cyberspace, where the smallest interaction ever can change someone's life. Like, I'm talking about a single sentence sometimes leading to an entire career and changing the trajectory of someone's destiny. I think the best example of this is Danielle Bregoli. She had a viral segment on Dr. Phil back in like 2015, and it ended up with her saying, "Cash me outside," and people memed it. those memes became extremely popular. Thus, Danielle Bregoli became extremely popular. And now, fast forward to today, she has a multi-million-dollar career that all started because of that meme. One sentence. It's just so interesting how something as small as that can lead to an entire career. But it's not a guarantee. This isn't like a formula everyone can follow. Even if you succeed at becoming a meme, you might not necessarily get like a long-lasting career from it. You might just get 15 minutes of fame. This formula shits more often than it hits. Another great example of that is there was a viral meme a couple years back with the "You're Breathtaking" guy, where at a video game conference, Keanu Reeves was on stage, the word breathtaking got used, and then someone in the audience shouted, "You're breathtaking." Using advanced DARPA technology and the CIA's latest and greatest, people were able to identify the gamer. And the gamer tried to use this to his advantage to make a career out of it, so he started making content, and this became his entire branding as the "You're Breathtaking" guy. It was like his whole fucking catchphrase, like he was like Tony the Tiger with Frosted Flakes. It became a core part of his identity. He would just spam the word breathtaking, saying things like "stay breathtaking" and all of that. And unlike in Danielle Bregoli's case, people abandoned him. It didn't stick with him. People didn't continue to support it. He tried to ride that wave, but unfortunately the surfboard slipped out from under him and he just ate shit in the rip current. He did not blow up like Danielle Bregoli did, despite doing pretty similar things in terms of trying to ride the meme. So it doesn't always work, but when it does, I find it to be extremely interesting. Right now, we're witnessing someone else attempt a similar thing, where they've become a meme, and now they have gone fucking elbow deep into that butthole here, putting all their eggs in that basket to try and ride that meme to a long-lasting, multi-million-dollar career from it. I'm talking about the Hawk Tua girl.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tua and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you. I think you gotta demonstrate.
Hawk Tua and spit on it. Spit on it.
I'm sure most of you watching this have seen this clip. Right now, the Hawk Tua girl is more popular than Jesus Christ. More people know her name than their own parents' name at this point. She has blown up because of that clip right there. And really, it's an entertaining clip. I see why it became popular. I get it. You know, who doesn't want to giggle at someone saying, "Hawk Tua, spit on penis," you know, laughing at, like, you know, sloppy wiener spit, whatever. I get it. Like, it's not like I'm an old man shaking my fist on the lawn trying to figure out why shit's popular. I get it here. But this became so popular that it actually boggles my noodle a little bit. It blew up in such a way that I haven't really seen before, where almost immediately she was invited to like a Zach Bryan concert where she was on stage. She then started getting invites to every podcast that's ever been made. I imagine it was probably like that scene out of Harry Potter when the owls just kept shooting new letters through the fucking front of the door with podcast invites for the Hawk Tua girl. So now she's been going on like the world tour of podcasts. She even mentioned on one of the podcasts that she's already quit her job.
I've been dropped out of school for like a year or two.
Okay, so this was like
But I don't quit my job. I said peace.
So now is like you're gonna go to LA, you're gonna go to New York.
Oh yeah.
Do you think you see yourself like starting your own type of like show or podcast, or are you just gonna be like an internet personality?
I think we're gonna do like a show, and then we're just gonna be like on a bunch of podcasts and everything else in between.
Cool. So kind of just figuring out as you go.
Oh yeah, there's more to come. Don't worry. There's more to come.
Like, she has the whole team. It's so
Right.
crazy. It happened. The internet is insane. Your
Oh,
life
yeah.
changed overnight.
It really did.
Yeah,
for sure.
She quit that job so fast. It feels like the second her meme hit 1 million views, she just turned in her 2 weeks notice and said, "Fuck it, I'm out. I'm a meme now. I'm better than this. You're beneath me." And she just walked right out the doors. And it's not that I don't respect the hustle here. Like, I get it. Like, in life, you're only given so many opportunities to try and make, like, the dream career happen for you. And this is definitely a gateway. Like, it certainly could be. But man, she is fucking speedrunning the entire online content creator roadmap here. The only thing she's missing right now is making a dog shit rap song, which I do think is probably only a month or so away. You'll notice that in that interview, she said "we" instead of just referring to herself alone. And that's because she's already got a team behind her. This isn't some kind of Gollum and Schmeagol situation where she's referring to herself as "we." She already has people around her working on making a whole career out of this. That is just so fascinating to me that all of a sudden, overnight, with a single sentence, she is now already going down this path in life to try and make it work. And it might work, it might not. Maybe it fumbles, maybe it flops, maybe it pops. There's no real way to know for sure. But I do want to pop a finger in my butt and pretend to be Nostradamus here for a second. I'm going to make a prediction. She's going to release a rap song in the next month. It's going to have Hawk Tua as like a hook. I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe the fucking Hawk Tua Electric Slide Part 3. Like I have no clue, but I am confident that she is going to make a song in the next month. Mark my fucking words. Put it down. Etch it on the tablets right now. I'm going to look like a prophet here, even though I feel like most people are probably predicting the same thing. Because she's right now going through that stage where every creator does, where they start doing podcasts, they start talking about making shows. I don't know what kind of show she's going to try and make out of just that one single sentence. Like, that seems like a really hard thing to turn into a show. I'm very curious to see what that's about, but she's already getting the full content creator experience because she's already found herself in 2 controversies. So the first one was actually with politics. So on that podcast, she got asked a question about who she would spit on the dick for, like who she would Hawk Tua on, basically. And one of the people that she was asked if she would basically suck the cock of was Donald Trump, and this is what she said.
I have a game that I want to play with you guys.
That makes me
It's,
nervous.
no, it's not that scary, I promise. It's called Huck Tua or Nah. And you tell me if you want to Huck Tua on that thing or no.
Okay.
Okay. I think you might. Are you into like older guys?
For sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, my phone's not loading. Donald Trump.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's a no from me.
Okay, it's no.
In a shock to absolutely no one, this created a bit of a shitstorm for the Hawk Tua girl because they viewed it as very disrespectful to Donald Trump. So because she said that she wouldn't gargle his fucking meat, they thought that this was like an unforgivable sin. There were tweets going on about how disappointed they were that the Hawk Tua girl turned out to be a wokey and shit like that. There are other tweets that splice this up a little more nefariously, where they cut off the part about it being about blowjobs and basically saying Donald Trump, and then it cut to her saying no. So it cut out all of the context, which then deceived people even further, where they're like, "Oh, okay, what the fuck is that? Wait, okay, this is disgusting." They thought they had us. They really thought we were gonna fall for the Hawk Tua girl, but we knew this whole time this was all a play from the skibbity Biden camp to fucking brainwash us and fool us all. We knew we couldn't trust the Hawk Tua girl, which then led to her second controversy, where a lot of people are claiming she's an industry plant because she got so big so quick, and that clip, that little section there, got taken in so many different ways that they think that this is some kind of political push, and that's what her whole motive is behind being as big as she is now. It's all artificial to promote Donald Trump's opponent, Mr. Biden. Mr. Biden. But you know what I mean. To promote Joseph over there. And so basically, they're now accusing her of being an industry plant. Now, industry plants are a real thing. That's not a conspiracy. There are actual industry plants in a lot of different places. That is a legitimate thing. In her case, I personally don't think so. This really seems like a classic internet case of latching onto something really silly, and the person that was responsible for making the silly thing happen is trying to capitalize off of that 15 minutes of fame and trying to make something from it. So she's doing, and her team is doing everything they can to keep her in like the mainstream consciousness, because in the current climate of the cyberspace, it is a complete uphill battle to stay on the tip of people's tongues because everything changes so quickly. People don't even remember what was talked about 3 hours ago. Everything moves like at breakneck pace. It's cutthroat. So they know that. She knows that. So she's going on podcasts, going on stage, really trying to keep the Hawk Tua alive, just putting fire, more wood on the fire to keep it burning. I don't think she's an industry plant. I really think this is just a classic case of someone trying to ride that meme and make a career out of it. But anyway, what I really wanted to focus on today is just how interesting this is, because memes come and go. Meme life cycle nowadays is only like a few hours, but sometimes you have a rare example like Hawk Tua here, where it does last a little bit longer. And in cases like that, the person behind it really does try and strive to make a career out of it because it is such a good opportunity to do so. I would say most of the time it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And when it does, It is a life-changing experience. Like, for her, it already is life-changing. She quit her job. It seems like she's got a lot of money on the table for some of these appearances, if they're making a show, if she's getting paid to make the show. It seems like already her whole life has changed almost overnight, and this meme's only like a week or so old, if that. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I really do just find it super interesting. That's about it. So yeah. This is an embarrassing thing to admit out loud, but I've recently found a great guilty pleasure that I've been consuming like junk food. It's those ridiculously cringe podcasts where a few dudes, pseudo-intellectuals, bring on a bunch of women and have the worst debates of all time. It's a forsaken wasteland where normal thinking goes to die. A thunderdome of delusion. It is brain melting. It reminds me of those old PSAs for the dangers of smoking cigarettes, and they'll like open up someone's chest and be like, this is what your lungs look like when you smoke, and it's like yellow and oozing, covered in this like disgusting slime, and it's very fucking yucky. This is like that, but instead of showing you your lungs on cigarettes, it's your brain when watching this content, and it's fucking revolting. Like, it is actual brain rot, and I can't look away.
And goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20. And then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
Would you... From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
So
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is. I already just find this painful. She's asking a very simple question and setting it up, talking about abuse. And already the dudes here are like, this is ridiculous. This is exceptionally rare. This is damn near science fiction. Abuse? Never even heard of it. That's like winning the lottery twice level of astronomical odds. Abuse is, it is very uncommon, very rare. As a way of trying to like kind of shut it down already, like, you're choosing something very fringe and outlandish. Abuse is, it's like a unicorn. It almost doesn't exist. But anyway, crazy lady, go on with your hypothetical abuse thing or whatever you called it. It's just trying to downplay it, which I think is just cringe.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the relationship.
People are just. People nowadays are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special.
The clown puts himself front and center here. You're looking at the chief entertainment for this episode. Fucking discount Walmart brand Sal from Impractical Jokers here. His name's Jonathan, and let me just tell you, he's got some opinions, and man, oh man, are they a stinker. So, the question is very simple. If there's an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, should the marriage end? You know, if the woman is being abused, or even if the man is being abused. The woman who asked the question, her name is Melina, and she doesn't just make it exclusive to women getting abused. Men can also be victims of abuse, something that Jonathan heavily disagrees with. We'll get to that later on. But he is saying that, if it's an abusive relationship, you have to endure. This is the problem with snowflake society now. Everyone's such a pussy, so they'll ruin a marriage because they think they're so special. You absolute fucking troglodyte. It's not about being special. It's about not getting beat the fuck up in a marriage. There's no excuse for abusing your spouse, whether it's physical or mental. Like, there is a right answer to this question. And the answer is yes, the marriage should end if it's abusive. 100%. Whether it's the woman or the man being abused, it should straight up end. There's no enduring. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, there's greener pastures once you get through a couple of the black eyes and broken bones. My husband may have beat the fuck out of me a couple nights ago, but he also took me to a really fancy steakhouse and I had an absolute bangin' filet. So, all of the abuse was worth it, and I'm a little happier today. It's ridiculous. This is honestly making me concerned. My heart is breaking for whatever woman he's in a relationship with. I'm imagining this guy treating relationships like it's Fight Club. If my partner can't roll with my knuckle sandwiches without crying about it and she wants to leave for it, well then good riddance to her toots. Jesus Christ, special snowflakes can't handle a few of my right hooks. Ridiculous. That's frightening. That is a frightening mentality, that you're telling someone to just endure physical or even mental abuse in a relationship and calling them like a special snowflake or a pussy if they don't. That's crazy. And also his cohort there, the goofball he's in cahoots with, who's like, man, divorce isn't real. Divorce is make-believe. It's hocus pocus. There's no such thing as divorce. Yes, if you're getting abused, you can't divorce, obviously. This is a wild episode.
And the reality is people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times.
Okay.
And it is what it is. You need to push through and you need to endure because we're in this hold on. Because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool, okay, I get like that one minute
but I'm asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what I would do.
A lot of diarrhea fell out of his mouth on this one here, so there's a lot to break down. He had an actual episode of psychosis there. He just started spitting shit that never even came up. It's a very simple question. It really wasn't nuanced. She just said, in an abusive relationship, should the marriage end? It really doesn't get more simple than that. A fucking child could understand the question. There wasn't anything about, like, all these nuance that you bring up. But anyway, Smash Mouth has his meltdown there for a second, but his message is still the same. No matter what, you gotta endure. You gotta endure the abuse. He even has the chutzpah to equate abuse to just a hard time in a relationship, as if it's just some little obstacle, little hiccup that every relationship goes through. Brother, abuse is not a hard time in a relationship. That is a fucking crime. That is when a relationship ends, should end.
I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Their faces really tell the whole story here. This reaction's pretty on par with that statement. Abuse is not a phase. It shouldn't be a phase. This isn't a normal thing. There's no reason to start normalizing abusive relationships as something every couple needs to go through or will go through. Abuse isn't acceptable. Full stop. Like, that's where... This was a really easy slam dunk for these dudes to answer. Should a marriage end when it gets abusive, whether for the woman or the man? And the answer is easy. It's yes. A relationship isn't something where there should be an abusive phase. If there is an abusive partner, that partner needs to seek legitimate help and get help for controlling whatever violent urges or impulses they have. But that doesn't mean that the other partner needs to stay in the relationship while they're getting that help. Especially not if there's children in the household, because not only is it dangerous for the partner, it's dangerous for the kid to be around as well. I think it's very simple. I don't think it's that nuanced. Abuse just isn't acceptable. Like, that's a super easy thing for a normal person to answer, but we've cultivated this culture online where everything needs to be like a debate, even on the simplest topics. Like, you just saw Smash Mouth have that meltdown, like, oh, you're getting into all this crazy 0.1% example nuance of abuse and then all of these other factors, like, out of nowhere, when that wasn't even what was discussed. It is the easiest black and white question.
To an extent.
So you would say that to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child, if there's a child.
I'm not saying like, hey, stick in the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by a husband.
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm just telling you.
Even if it's a small extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you just stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element.
God damn it, it's not even an extreme example. If you just Google it for like 15 seconds, there's so many different studies conducted on the topic, and according to a lot of the different numbers, all of which are a little different, but most of them agree that at least 20% of all marriages are abusive at some point in time. And that's just in reported cases. Like, it's not an extreme example. It's really not. But even if it was, it doesn't even change the question. Like, even in the extreme example here, it's still a very easy answer that, yes, that marriage should end. There is a problem. Now, this guy here is trying to play nice with everybody, so he's like, oh, yes, even this goober over here talking about endure. I mean, there's almost an element of something salvageable of his point, when there's not. Like, there's no excuse. Like, you shouldn't be enduring abuse, like, under any circumstance, but he's really trying to give an olive branch over there for some fucking reason. But this guy is at least admitting, like, he wouldn't want his daughter in that. So he does outright say, like, yes, a woman shouldn't be getting the shit beat out of her in a marriage or relationship, and she should leave. He at least will concede that, whereas the other two guys still, for some reason, fight tooth and nail that, nah, there's really no reason to be leaving.
Like that.
Do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's
terrible.
Listen,
it's terrible. Look at how quickly you can debate it. Do you know how rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really rare, but you immediately had a visceral reaction to that, right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're talking about like a guy like getting drunk and like, you know, beating his wife occasionally versus like...
I actually think that was a really good point from Destiny there. Like, you have a very quick reaction to another extreme example. Why do you not have that same energy when it comes to abusive households? And then the guy starts making some shit up like, we're talking about a guy getting drunk and maybe putting his hands on his wife. Where is that coming from? The question was so simple. They're making up like a whole fanfic plotline in their head about what was asked when it was really super simple. Abusive household. Should the marriage end? Like, I actually wonder if she had even just said something even more simple and broad, what the response would have been. If she had asked, do you guys think abuse is bad? I wonder what they would have said. I wager that they would have been like, okay, we need to define what abuse is because all of these special snowflakes have weird definitions for abuse. So let's start really getting into the nitty-gritty of what is abuse. Even though it's so easy, abuse is just bad. And an abusive relationship is bad. I don't know what's so hard about it. I don't know what's so hard about them just admitting that.
Could there
let me ask you guys, in the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. That
was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions for like if a guy is beating his wife constantly?
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's also a distinction drawn between
if a woman's beating a dude,
hold on, guys.
Oh man, blubbery ass Jonathan there just got saved big time by the guy in the middle. He wanted so badly to say that if a man's getting beat by his girl, then he's a pussy, or he's like a weak bitch or something. He wanted so badly to try and get that kind of bravado out there. Sad to see that this mentality still exists somehow, that men can't be the victims of abuse. I thought we got rid of that stigma years ago. Jonathan's supposed to be a men's self-help guru? How? Actually, how?
Divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
78%. 78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Yeah. Real.
Brian, please present the stats to the class. What percentage of divorces are initiated by women? 80%? Thank you, Poindexter, that's sickening. 90% if they're college educated? I rest my case. That's why I only marry 18-year-olds now. They're too young to have a college degree, thus they can't divorce me. What does this have to do with anything? Okay, so you don't want to marry college-educated women? You want to marry dumb women? Like, I don't know. You want to just marry a lobotomite sex doll? Cool, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with the core question anymore. It's gone fully off the rails and unhinged. They're so focused on picking apart divorce itself. So now they're spouting these stats and making each other mad. So one of the dudes is like, real. And then the other guy is taking a huge deep breath. Why, I oughta. Just hearing that number's making me mad enough to put hands on my spouse because she might have considered a divorce at some point. Like, it's ridiculous. This has nothing to do with what was asked.
They are extreme.
I agree with that.
I want to ask like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if...
I was giggling so fucking hard because you can hear, I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan go, oh, Jesus. When she says she wants to ask another scenario. Why are you even here? The whole point is to communicate with the women, your guests, right? To ask them stupid questions and shit. Like, if you're so bothered with them talking, what the fuck are you even doing there?
Two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating. Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself
you don't
said...
But it wasn't
hold on. Jesus
and
himself
you could like
said,
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
No, for the children?
Or cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
For the children, yes.
I actually let out a full belly laugh. So she brings up cheating and unanimously like, yes, obviously you have to divorce when the woman's being a whore. If you've got a slut for a wife, you gotta fucking divorce that harlot, that harpy. Duh. Are you stupid, lady? Absolutely, you have to divorce there. After they spent like 6 minutes about, well, actually, divorce is one of the most evil things that can ever happen. Divorce is unacceptable. Physical abuse, okay, abuse, you have to endure because you can't divorce. But then when it's cheating, it's like, yeah, you gotta divorce. Jonathan even says crucifixion is warranted. I'm sure he's just being exaggeratory, but he does point blank say that cheating is worse than abuse for the kids, which is a wild take. Both are awful. Your father beating your mother or your mother beating your father in front of your kid is just as damaging as one of them being unfaithful. These are both horrible things, both of which should end in divorce. But for some reason, they seem to only have a real visceral response when it comes to cheating. And then the guy in the middle even gets immediately religious, like, well, in the Bible it says, when cheating's on the table, that's when divorce is absolutely necessary. Well, what the fuck? The Bible also doesn't preach for beating the fuck out of your spouse either. I'm sure you can also divorce in a case like that, so why didn't we get biblical when abuse was brought up? Why did we start trying to justify different levels of abuse and it might be a phase where it's going to get better after and this and that? Dude even wove a whole fanfic about like, we're talking about a man who gets drunk and maybe occasionally hits his wife. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you making excuses for abuse and not for cheating all of a sudden, right? Like, and Melina even calls that out. She's like, oh, well, what about, like, working through it, or, maybe the cheating's a phase, and like, no, absolutely not. Cheating is the end-all, be-all. This is just crazy. Like, I was absolutely howling with laughter when we got to this segment in the podcast.
Absolutely
I think I'm not going to say this is worse.
Divorce is worse for the children.
I already said that if a woman's getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like, I mean, if it's a brief temporary thing, like,
what if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
it's less cut and dry. If you are setting your child up.
I think there's a small chance that Jonathan may have misunderstood the question. He may have thought he heard, is divorce worse than abuse? And that's what he was saying, that divorce is worse than abuse for the kids. Which is still a fucking stupid take, so I'm going to tackle that one as well. What the fuck, man? You think that somehow kids witnessing their parents beating the shit out of each other is somehow less damaging than if they had just gotten divorced? You've got some issues you need to work through. My goodness. And then also that lady that's behind them is saying that it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse. Why? Abuse is abuse. What are you talking about? So far up until this point in the episode, she hasn't said too much. She mainly just kind of agrees with everything the guys say. But she says it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse, which leads me to believe that she thinks it should be cut and dry when it comes to divorce for physical abuse. But she didn't say anything. She didn't chime up and say like, hey, I agree, the marriage should end then. She just stayed silent because I guess she was just looking for things to fight them on as opposed to agree with, which I think is always such a weird component of these debates where if you agree with your opponent, you're apparently losing, or you lose points by doing so, which is so fucking backwards. And that's why I think debates in general are kind of worthless, because it's never about changing someone's mind. It's always about just cementing your own beliefs and never faltering and never changing perspective on anything. So nothing good ever really comes from it, except for just general entertainment as a spectator. And this one had me giggling. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya.